The jaguar convulses its powerful body, shuddering, gasping for air. It's trapped in a living cage of moss-green-brown muscle. Its life is being systematically extinguished. An immense anaconda, skin patterned with large black blotches, has looped itself into an inescapable vice. With each passing second, the colossal serpent coils tighter, muscles rippling with relentless effort in the shallow, murky waters of the green grassland. The pressure is unbearable, squeezing the very life from the jungle's apex predator, a creature that has known only dominance. Until now, the jaguar's legs thrash wildly in the mud. Its eyes, wide with terror, have lost every trace of pride. There is only the raw, primal fear of impending death. Its once mighty roar, a sound that could shake the forest, has been reduced to a pathetic, choked gurgle. This is no longer a battle for territory or supremacy. It's become a desperate, final fight for a single, precious breath. Here, in the heart of the Pantanal, two of South America's most formidable titans are locked in a mortal embrace, and one is just moments from being erased from existence. Its strength fades with every crushing squeeze of the anaconda's body. What happens in the next few moments is truly unbelievable. But how did this epic confrontation begin? And, in this vast, unforgiving wilderness, was there anyone to witness the struggle before it was too late? For Ranger Ethan, a seasoned American conservationist with 2 decades of experience etched into the lines on his face, the day began, not with a roar, but with a disturbing silence. The morning mist clung to the low, green grasses of the Pantanal, the world's largest tropical wetland, a place of staggering beauty and ruthless efficiency. He was on a routine survey, boots sinking slightly into the damp earth at the edge of a sprawling rainforest. His mission: monitor the health of the local wildlife. That meant reading the land's subtle language like a book. But this morning, the language was unsettling. Pressed deep into the mud, he found a set of tracks. Unmistakable large, round prints of a male jaguar. But something was wrong. The gait was uneven. One paw dragged slightly. The jaguar was limping. Ethan's mind immediately linked this to reports from a nearby settlement. Local ranchers had spoken of strange, distressed roars echoing through the darkness the night before, at the confident call of a hunting predator. But the sound of pain. He continued his trek, the sense of foreboding growing with every step. The Pantanal is a unique battleground where water and land predators often cross paths. But confrontations of this scale are rarely witnessed. Moving with quiet focus, his senses sharpened. The air, usually filled with the chatter of monkeys and the calls of exotic birds, had gone still. Then it happened. A frantic explosion of sound, wings beating. In chaoses, a flock of birds erupted from the trees ahead, a definitive sign of danger. Ethan froze, listening intently. The silence that followed was heavy, oppressive. He knew he was close, pushing through a final dense wall of reeds. He stepped into a scene that would sear itself into his memory forever. There, in a clearing of waterlogged grass, was the source of the limping tracks and the pained cries, the magnificent jaguar. Locked in the suffocating grip of a giant anaconda, fighting a battle it was seconds away from losing. In the wild, the rule is simple: do not interfere. It's a core principle of conservation, a deep respect for nature's brutal, impartial laws. But as Ethan stood there, watching the life being squeezed from one of the most majestic creatures he had sworn to protect, he knew some rules were meant to be broken. The ethical debate that divides conservationists is timeless. Do you let nature take its course, or do you step in when you have the power to save a life? For Ethan, that question vanished from his mind. In that moment, the choice was simple. There was no time for hesitation. He scanned the ground, eyes locking on a thick, heavy tree branch, weathered and strong. He grabbed it, the rough bark biting into his palms. Charging into the shallow water, he wedged the end of the branch between the anaconda's powerful coils. Using it as a lever, he threw his entire weight into it, muscles straining to the limit. The anaconda reacted instantly to this new threat. Its immense body shifted muscles like living steel, but it didn't release its prey. If anything, the crushing pressure on the jaguar intensified. The attempt had failed. The jaguar's struggles grew weaker, movements frantic but losing power. Its eyes began to glaze over. Panic welled up in Ethan's chest. The branch wasn't enough. In a surge of pure, adrenaline-fueled desperation, he dropped the wood and made a far more dangerous choice. He lunged for the serpent's tail. His hands gripped the thick, muscular end of the anaconda. The scaled skin was surprisingly smooth and impossibly strong beneath his fingers. He dug his heels into the mud and pulled with everything he had. For one heart-stopping second, nothing happened. Then, surprised by the attack from behind, the anaconda's body shifted. A single coil loosened. Only for an instant, but it was ENOUGHA. Ragged, desperate gasp tore from the jaguar's lungs. That sound lit a fire in Ethan's resolve. With one final, mighty heave, another coil slipped free. The spell was broken. The anaconda was gone, retreating silently into the murky water. But the battle wasn't over. In the stillness that followed, an even more profound challenge emerged. Ethan had saved one life, but he was about to discover he was part of a much larger story. The anaconda vanished beneath the surface as if it had never been there, leaving only a chilling silence. The immediate threat was gone, but the jaguar, the so-called victor, was in no condition to celebrate. Freed from the suffocating pressure, it collapsed onto the wet grass body, trembling with exhaustion and shock. It lay motionless, sides heaving in shallow, ragged breaths. Ethan stood for a moment, his own heart pounding before cautiously approaching. Keeping a safe distance, he saw there were no deep puncture wounds. The damage was in organs, strained muscles. The jaguar was alive, but dangerously vulnerable. Too weak to stand, he knew he had to act fast. Reaching for the satellite phone on his belt, his fingers fumbled slightly, the adrenaline wearing off, replaced by sharp focus. He had to call in the veterinary team, but before he could dial, something moved, a flicker in the dense tree line at the edge of the clearing. He froze, instantly alert. His first thought was another threat. Slowly he turned his head, then his breath caught in his throat. From the shadows, a pair of golden eyes stared back at him. It was another jaguar, a female, sleek, powerful, and she was looking directly at him, but there was no aggression in her posture, no threat. Instead, her gaze held an intense, anxious stillness. She was watching and waiting, and in that instant, Ethan understood. Everything. The injured male wasn't just a random jaguar. He was her partner, her mate. This desperate struggle had been witnessed, every moment, by his loyal companion. While jaguars are often solitary, they do form crucial bonds, partnerships that ensure mating success and survival. Losing a strong male could devastate the local gene pool and the future of his lineage. Ethan's rescue was no longer just about saving one animal, it was about preserving a family, a bond written into the very fabric of this wild place. Getting the injured jaguar to safety was now more critical than ever, but ensuring this family could be whole again would require a new level of care and dedication. Weeks of uncertainty would come down to a single moment. The call was made, and the response was swift. The expert veterinary team arrived by boat and four-wheel drive, their calm efficiency, a stark contrast to the chaos of the earlier battle. With practiced care, they sedated the injured male. His breathing finally slowed into a deep, healing sleep. He was carefully loaded onto a stretcher for the long journey back to the rehabilitation center. From the shadows, the female watched, silent, motionless, a solitary sentinel, until they were gone. At the center, the full extent of the damage became clear: severe, internal bruising, muscle trauma. Recovery would be slow. For weeks, the vets worked patiently, their hands steady and deliberate. Ethan visited often, checking in on the animal whose life had now become deeply intertwined with his own. Finally, the day came. The jaguar was strong again, healthy, ready to go home. Ethan and the team transported him back to the same clearing. A nervous anticipation filled the air. Would she still be here? Or had she been forced to move on? The crate door swung open. The jaguar stepped out cautiously, his paws pressing into familiar earth. He sniffed the air, powerful senses reconnecting him to his territory. And then he saw her. Emerging from the edge of the rainforest as if she had never left stood the female jaguar. She had waited. There was no dramatic roar, no grand display. Their reunion was quiet and profound. They approached each other, touching noses in a gentle greeting that said everything words never could. The bond was unbroken. Side by side, they turned and walked into the depths of the Pantanal. Their family was whole once more, watching them disappear. Ethan felt a deep, humbling fulfillment. This wasn't just the story of a fight between an anaconda and a jaguar. It was a reminder of the invisible threads of loyalty and connection that bind the natural world. It proved that sometimes, breaking the rules can create ripples, saving not just one life, but a bond, a partnership, a future. It was a message of hope, a reminder that a single act of compassion can tip the scales, reaffirming our role, not just as observers, but as guardians of the incredible lives we share this planet with.